Greetings collectors and welcome to today's retro game review. A while back I picked up a game in a job lot. To be honest, I almost wish I'd never had the misfortune of finding it. Join me today to take a look back at perhaps one of the most frustrating games of all time. Welcome to Mindroll. It's a game that you will definitely roll your eyes at, quite literally. Based on the 1987 release by the name of Quedex, Mindroll for the Commodore Amiga looked to add more mind-shattering frustration to the gamers of the 1990s. How to describe Mindroll? Well, the box describes the game as a physical test of skill, 3D planes that will blow your mind, roll off the edge of infinity into a dimension with no room for mental midgets. So the box text isn't pulling any punches. You'll need dexterity and some serious brain power to get through this one. I'll try to describe what the game is actually like to play. Basically, it's a world where everything you do is punished and everything you try to do seems needlessly difficult. It's a maze game where everything seems illogical. The levels usually manifest themselves in getting to an end goal, typically through a multi-part level. You control a rather erratic rolling eyeball. The timer will count down and you'll race against the clock to solve the dexterity puzzles. Quite frankly, this game has one brutal learning curve. You can choose from any one of the 10 planes. Even plane 1 is a challenge though. Sometimes you'll have to jump to the next square rather than rolling. The game will give you very few hints though. Trial and error seems to be the lesson of the day. Once you've worked that out, you'll then try to roll over the flashing square to open the escape hatch. Then it's a case of getting to the next pressure plate and you've almost certainly run out of time by this point. I didn't feel like giving up and repetition was a key part to getting faster and more accurate. Open the next planes though, and it turns out the game was just teasing you. It gets progressively more and more cryptic to the point where even the walls are invisible. I'm up for a challenge, but a level with multiple teleports with no reference points in a level of invisible collision sections. Just what were they thinking? This isn't fun, this is just a really cruel joke. In fairness, I did manage to work out how to complete a fair amount of this game, but the trial and error methodology really grated on me after a while. The level with the pipes and the keys is just insane to try and work out on your own. You'll end up rolling around aimlessly for a while, pick up keys to unlock doors that are not necessarily on the screen at that time. You'll then look to a pipe to transport you across the map. However, get the order wrong and you're practically back to the start. Pick the wrong pipe and you may hit an instant game over tile. I appreciate this might look a little bit fun as a spectator, but when playing the game though, it's just an absolute nightmare. Bear in mind I'm approaching this game afresh having seen no prior solution videos or walkthroughs. If you're a newcomer to the world of Mindroll, as I am, you'll certainly be left feeling a little beaten. So it's at this point I thought that I might be missing something, so I went to the box. Inside I found a piece of paper. There are some helpful hints, but only so much to throw you a crumb of hope. When you read the text, another in an ongoing series to frustrate and enrage, brought to you courtesy of Thalamus. You really do just feel like you've become the butt of someone's joke. The main box itself is rather nice, clean, simple, and at least boasts some rather nice artwork. What you will find throughout the packaging are multiple references to the original release of this title, Quedex, The Quest for Ultimate Dexterity. Quedex was originally a Commodore 64 release, and if I'm truthful, looks almost identical. The Amiga version does boast a wider colour palette, resolution, and higher sound sampling rates, but on balance, it's not a great step up from the original concept. Personally, I prefer the title Mindroll over Quedex, but it was clear from all of the references that the publisher wanted to draw us back to the association with the original game. Now, I'm not suggesting that you do track this one down, other than if you really hate someone and want to gift it to them, but you may have difficulty doing this. I'm aware of Thalamus as a British publisher, but interestingly I couldn't find any sales of Mindroll on the internet auction sites in the past 6 months. From past experience though, I know that Thalamus titles can sell for significant amounts due to their scarce nature. Thalamus released relatively few titles, and in the past I've known them to fetch some reasonable prices at auction. Usually I try to put a collecting price on the games I feature on the channel. In this case though, I had a real challenge. Having scoped out my usual channels, there was plenty of information on the original Quedex, The Quest for Dexterity, but very little information on the remake of Mindroll. As sometimes happens with collecting, between starting the episode and posting it, a mint box version of Mindroll was posted on the UK eBay site. The buy it now price is set to £69.99, which is around the $90 mark. I have to say that this shrink-wrapped version is as good as you'll ever find. The $69.99 price tag though, well, I honestly don't know. I'm guessing also that the seller is also a little uncertain of the market value, as this isn't a game that's frequently traded and relatively unknown about. The seller has wisely enabled a make an offer option. I can tell you that the seller Retro Pixels is a regular seller with hundreds of positive sales and 99% plus rating. I'm often jealous of some of the items they have for sale. The final price of Mindroll, if I could sell for close to the £70 mark, I would be ecstatic. The reality is though that at the moment it sits on my shelf like a cursed doll that nobody really wants in their house. If you have a copy of Mindroll, I would genuinely be interested to find out how much you paid for it. When it comes to setting prices, scarcely traded items are the bane of the collector's world. What we do know is that the game was designed by Finnish programmer Stavros Fasoulas. I did make an attempt to get in contact with Stavros, but sadly I couldn't easily track him down. Stavros is far more well known for the original of Quedex, Sanction and Delta, all on the Commodore 64. His career is very well documented in several gaming magazines, and you'll also be able to find some YouTube videos regarding his career. The general consensus is that he's now living in San Francisco with no current connection to the computing industry. There are unconfirmed reports that he rarely uses the internet and does not even have an email address. Mindroll itself is an excessively frustrating game, bordering on being psychologically upsetting. To its credit, it is well designed and certainly evokes the frustration and outrage that the designers were going for. I can't say that Mindroll is a bad game, but it is difficult to judge as having a wide appeal, other than for those curious retro collectors of obscure software. If you're looking for a game with a really steep learning curve and frustrating time limits, then Mindroll is almost certainly a game for you. That's all for this week. I'm off to book in for some counselling time and burn the vision of that rolling eyeball out of my own eyeballs. Stavros, if you're out there, well played. Hello again, I hope you enjoyed today's show and thank you for the view. Remember, you can always comment, like, subscribe and find us on the social media sites below. Happy collecting!